What's up, guys? Dom here with Restricted America. I know there's been a lot of bad news coming out of Massachusetts lately. I don't have any more bad news for you today, fortunately, but we do need to talk about the two big pieces of news that came out this week and what that means for us and why I think we're still going to win. If you're wondering why I care so much about Massachusetts gun owners and Second Amendment rights here, it's because this is my home state. This is, this is where I grew up. This is, I was born in Worcester, Mass. So this is near and dear to me. And obviously, you can say, oh, I'm going to move out of state. I'm going to go be free in New Hampshire. But the reality is, if you move, everyone's going to move, and then we're just leaving a state to basically surrendering another state to the anti-gun lobby. And I don't think we should do that. I think we should stay. I think we should fight. Maura Healey and her gang think they have won. They think that they already own this state, but I think that they have a storm coming with the legal suits that we're going to be bringing and the democratic process of repealing the bill that they just passed, H4 885. But the first big piece of news that I already made a video about is the fact that Governor Healey has expressed opposition to our referendum. I'm going to read the summary I have here. So on August 13th, 2024, Governor Maura Healey expressed opposition to gun owners' efforts to suspend a new Massachusetts firearm safety law through a potential 2026 ballot question aimed at repealing the legislation. Healey indicated her willingness to consider filing an emergency preamble, which would prevent the law's suspension during the petition process, emphasizing the importance of strong gun laws for public safety. Healey highlighted that the law targets ghost guns, expands the state's red flag law, and increases gun-free zones. Jim Wallace, leader of the Gun Owners Action League, criticized the law as a violation of Second Amendment rights. Although Goal isn't directly organizing the repeal efforts, initial signatures have been filed to trigger the petition process for the law to be suspended. 49,716 valid signatures must be submitted by October 9th. The state's constitution gives the governor flexibility to file an emergency preamble, ensuring laws take immediate effect if deemed critical for public peace and safety. And this is just a summary of the article from, it was the State House News Service. I didn't want to read the whole thing because I already read the whole article on a different video. If you want to, definitely go check that video out. It should be on the list on my homepage. But yeah, basically, they're claiming that Governor Healey has the authority to claim that this bill is an emergency and it's critical to public safety. From my own research and from what I've seen, people do agree with that. They think that there is ambiguity in the state constitution that benefits her, that she can file it any time before the election which this is voted on. I think the ambiguity would benefit us, in my own personal opinion. Again, I'm not a lawyer, or this isn't legal. I'm not a legal scholar, but I think, when there's ambiguity in the law, it benefits the citizens, not the government. And in this case, Maura Healey is the government. So I don't think, even if she did pull the trigger on this and she put this into motion, she actually attached an emergency preamble and sent it to the Secretary of State, Bill Galvin, and actually stopped the suspension of the bill. I don't think it would hold up in court very long, and I think that would I don't think that would even happen in the first district, which is where Massachusetts is. It's a very liberal court system. It's a very anti-2A system. So if she does try to attach an emergency preamble, I don't think it's going to hold up in court. And I personally think even if she can do it, that she won't do it, at least until after this election. I think there's going to be a time where it will be suspended. I think it's going to be suspended until 2026, to be honest. But again, I could be wrong. I'm not putting it past Governor Maura Healey. She seems like she would do something like that. But I'm still holding hope to the democratic process. You know, that is what keeps this country going. Not going to get past this, but I know we're going to get past this. There is hope with this, and I wouldn't worry too much. I know there's a lot of negative energy about this right now, but I wouldn't give in. I would just stay positive, keep fighting the fight. But there is another piece of news, and that's the Massachusetts Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, she wants anti-gun groups to weigh in on efforts to halt this law. So as you know, Goal and a bunch of other people like Toby Leary, Charlie Cook, they all submitted the petition to repeal the initial 10 signatures to repeal H.4 885. And first, it's at the State House. It has to go to the AG's office. She has to deem if it's constitutional or not. And right now, it should be a very quick decision. It should be, yes, this is constitutional, obviously, so let's send it on. But she's halting it right now, and she is... Well, let me just read the article. This is from Bearing Arms. This was written by John Petrolino, and this was August 14th. So we've had a slew of coverage concerning the so-called Bruin response law recently enacted by the hand of Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, going back to the alleged listening tour hosted by Representative Michael Day in 2023. Day allegedly authored the original bill. The listening tour is a misnomer, as very little listening came. Since the enactment of the law in late July and slated to come into effect in October, a contingent of Massachusetts gun owners filed a petition to put the law up to a ballot measure. According to our friends at Gun Owners Action League, the Bay State Attorney General is seeking input from interested parties on the effort, and that includes a whole slew of anti-freedom cretins. And as a side note, August 12, 2024, the 10 original signers to initiate a referendum petition to repeal Chapter 135 received an email from the Massachusetts Attorney General, see below. The email explained that the Secretary of Commonwealth had asked the Attorney General to make a ruling on whether the proposed referendum complies with Article 48 of the Massachusetts Constitution. It is a very simple determination that the Attorney General should be capable of discerning in a few minutes. Instead, the Attorney General's office has sought guidance on the matter from a host of outside sources, many of which likely had a hand in writing the law. The correspondence sent out by the Attorney General is flummoxing. I don't know what that word, or soliciting input on the measure. The fact that the measure is being raised and signatures are being collected is all the input the state needs. Period. If the measure is successful and the signatures are gathered, it goes up to a vote. Now that vote, whomever it favors, does not mean the law is constitutional. If it stands, however, a vote against the measure would show the administration that there's no real appetite for these kinds of things. We have to remember that is coming from Massachusetts, where the tradition concerning those who are different, gun owners in this case, are reconciled with society via the end of a rope. Not much has changed in the Bay State since the days of hanging witches. It's just how they like to hang them. The message from the Attorney General reads as follows. As you may be aware, the Secretary of the Commonwealth has asked the Attorney General to opine whether the referendum filed on Chapter 135 of the Acts of 2024, parentheses, an act modernizing firearms, complies with the constitutional standards set forth for referenda in Amendment Article 48 of the Massachusetts Constitution. I will be coordinating the Attorney General's review of that inquiry with my colleague Phoebe Fisher-Groban. You are receiving this email because you have been identified as a person or entity who may wish to provide input on the question whether Chapter 135 of the Acts of 2024 is a law that may be subject of a referendum. Please be advised that the Attorney General's review is limited to whether the law may be the subject of a referendum under Amendment Article 48. It will not extend to policy or other legal or constitutional considerations. In addition, the Attorney General is charged with preparing a fair and concise summary of the law. Because this matter is time sensitive, if you wish to provide input on the question whether this law may properly be the subject of a referendum, please do so by email on or before Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. We appreciate your confining any input to the narrow legal question before us. We will also solicit input on our draft summary of the law when we are ready to do so. If you wish to submit your own draft summary for our consideration prior to that, please also do so ASAP. If you are aware of any otherwise interested parties, please let me know so I can include them in this process, or feel free to forward this message to them. Kindly reply all with all future correspondence on these petitions to facilitate an open process where you have the opportunity to respond to the other's input to the extent possible within our time constraints. And of course, please reach out with any questions about the process. So they literally were giving them a day to give them input, and they were asking, we'll see below, Goal indicated that some of these carbon copied into the correspondence included representatives from the following groups, some of which are very anti-liberty: Mass Chiefs Association, Fraternal Order of Police, Massachusetts Coalition to Prevent Gun Violence, Everytown, Giffords, Brady United, Gary Klein Consulting, former AG staffer who authored the 2016 AW piece, in the Mass Executive Office of Public Safety. Yes, because they know a lot about the Constitution. Why this is happening at all is a mystery. It is confusing that the Attorney General would be seeking opinions from the very people that likely wrote Chapter 135. The AG's only job right now is to determine if the petition meets constitutional standards, which it clearly does, said Jim Wallace, Executive Director of Goal and first signer of the referendum. Why in the world would the AG need the input of anti-civil rights organizations to interpret a constitution he is supposed to fully understand and protect? I spoke to Wallace yesterday evening when the organization sent out an email about this, and he confirmed that all those groups were in the email string. He expressed his confusion over the purpose of the email to me. Goal further noted in their statement, which I tend to agree with, that it would appear that the Attorney General is trying to find an excuse to deny the petition. Goal continued, from her email, she is likely looking for support from the anti-civil rights groups to back such a position. Like most of the history in Chapter 135, the bulk of the process is questionable at best. Are forces in the Bay State trying to pull a fast one? They seem to be up to some sort of shenanigans. We'll be keeping a watchful eye on the happenings in the land where the shot heard around the world was fired. While Massachusetts is alleged to be one of the birthplaces of the Union, it's also painfully obvious that it may be the death of liberty as well. For some coverage on the contingent filing the paperwork to raise the petition, check out the latest episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, featuring Mike Harris from Goal, here in the embed below, as well as the coverage of the filing of the Hill at the Hill, and it's also in this article. Editor's note, you can also check out my interview with Toby Leary from Cape Gunworks on today's Bearing Arms Cam & Co., where Toby and I discuss Campbell's bizarre request, as well as some anti-Second Amendment saber routing from Governor Healey. I did watch that episode. It's great. If you want to watch it, definitely go watch it. And I have not actually seen that episode with Charlie Cook and Mike Harris with Riding Shotgun with Charlie, so I'll definitely have to check that out. I'll tag all of them in this video, so and I'll try to include the links as well. But guys, the fact that the Attorney General is trying to do this, she's just trying to draw out time. She's just trying to basically tell these groups that we're trying to fight this, as you know, as the people in Massachusetts, we're trying to fight H4AA5, now known as Chapter 135. There's no teeth to this. There's nothing. She's not going to be able to declare this unconstitutional. It's not going to happen. The only negative effect of this is that there will be more attention from these anti-Second Amendment groups, like the Gabby Giffords, like the Everytowns. That's the only downside to this, and the fact that she's kind of holding it up. But overall, guys, these two threats, if you want to call them that, they're nothing. Even if they turn out to have, you know, one tooth to them, they're not gonna hold up. They're I'd say the crappiest attempts to try to stop this democratic process that we're trying to repeal this awful bill in Massachusetts, and I don't think it's gonna work. In Massachusetts, I'd say to stay strong, spread the word that this bill happened. A lot of gun owners still don't even know that this bill was passed. A lot of conservatives and even liberals don't know that this bill has passed. I'd say probably more liberals don't know in the actual what this bill is. It's not just a ban on ghost guns, which they're telling everybody it is. It's more than that. It basically incriminates a ton of gun owners and potential gun owners, and it doesn't do anything for criminals. But guys, spread the word. Don't stop fighting. Like this, if this is your state, don't just move. Stay fighting. Like, fight for the states, fight for your home. This is what you need to do. And guys, if you don't follow me on X, make sure to do that. It's restricted AMA. The algorithm is not liking us right now. So if you guys could put a comment, if you could share this, like it, and make sure to subscribe. And other than that, guys, stay informed and stay unrestricted.